Jen here, Cup of Joe with Jen. Welcome to my very first live Google Hangout. I honestly have no idea if this is working, so I'm going to pretend that it is, and I'm glad that you guys are here and join me. If you have not gone and grabbed your Joe, aka coffee, go and grab a cup of Joe and scurry back and sit down because I'll, of course, still be talking. And I want to give a quick shout out to my girlfriend, my soul sister, Heidi Totten in Salt Lake City, Utah. She is my dear friend and technical coach, so she helped me get this together this morning. So I love you, Heidi. And my little mug this morning is for all of my Utah, Salt Lake City people. I don't know if you can see it. It says Park City. So I obviously love to drink coffee, hence Cup of Joe with Jen. I'm Jen, by the way. And so when I go various places, I like to pick up a mug. It's a great souvenir. This one was actually, my husband and I went into Park City. We love to get away for weekends. And in the summer, they have every Sunday in Park City, they have Silly Sunday, and it's just a street fair with vendors and yummy food, and of course it's surrounded by mountains, and that's where I bought this mug. There was someone that actually made this. It's a ceramic mug, and it says Park City. So that's my little coffee mug this morning. So I also want to give a quick shout out. Thank you to my sponsor, Modere. Brand new company launched in Beverly Hills, featured in the Oscar swag bags, and I love this company. The actual products are safe, efficient, effective. It's luxury for less. My absolute favorite is this antioxidant. I don't know if you can see it. Antioxidant gel. It's 70% vitamin C, and my 10-year-old daughter uses it on her eczema. I use it on my face because it's helping fade my wrinkles, and it's actually restoring my actual skin surface. So it's very, very clear. And then, girls, you'll understand this when I wake up in the morning. As you age, you will notice in the morning when you get up, you have those wrinkles. It's anyway, so when I get up in the morning and I'm brushing my teeth and doing my morning ritual, I have this right by my sink, and I just put a little dollop and I put it on my chest. I have wrinkles or freckles because I grew up in the 80s, and then I'm getting those weird creasy wrinkles. So so you have to check it out, and I'll put the link below. So okay, so this morning for Wacky Wednesday, well, first of all, I think technology is crazy. It's wacky. It blows my mind. I don't know where you are, but I used to live in San Antonio. I lived in New York for a year, and I have friends kind of all over. So it's cool that I can connect with you guys via, internet. It's crazy to me, very crazy. So, but I also love it. So we're going to be talking about, I started brainstorming, you know what? I am going to talk about happiness. So people always come up to me and they'll say, Jen, you seem so happy all the time. And it's funny because when some people stop me, even strangers, I can tell that sometimes I don't think it's a compliment. It's almost like they're frustrated, or they think, how the hell can you be happy all the time? You must have a perfect life. And so I really started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? We're just going to talk about happiness, because I can first of all tell you, happiness is a conscious decision. You decide to be happy. And once I figured that out a long time ago, it's how I remain in the present moment, and it's also how I remain happy. My life is not perfect. I am very blessed. I'm very grateful. I've been married 19 years to my high school sweetheart. We have 3 beautiful children, but just like anybody watching this, we have problems day in, day out, parenting. In fact, right now is not the time or place, but 2 years ago, I actually, we got to save a marriage. So I've been through a lot, just as you all have, and I decided, you know what, every single day I'm going to choose to be miserable, sad, depressed, or I'm going to choose happiness. So we're going to talk about happiness, and I used to teach school for 10 years. I love acronyms. I love rhymes, quotes, just like everybody else. So if you look at the word happy, you know, and we're going to go down, today we're going to talk about hustle. So I do believe that a big component of being happy is all about the hustle. So I saw a quote the other day, and that's kind of what I thought, oh, I should do a little thing on being happy. So I saw a quote that said, the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. And I loved that because I thought, you know, we all dream. And if you've stopped dreaming, I'm now giving you permission to start dreaming again. Life is all about dreaming. I love to be around children and watch their dreams, and you need to dream. But the hustle is sold separately. So today we're going to talk about hustle, and then the other Google Hangouts, A, we're going to talk about being authentic. P, we're going to talk about what your actual purpose is. The other P, passion, because I love, you know, to be passionate about anything I do. And then Y would be yes. So talking about hustle this morning, I'm just going to share a little story with you because it just happened the other day. So the other day, I was actually in Salt Lake City. And getting there was a very big chore. I will always now fly direct. Shout out to Delta. I will always pay the extra to fly direct into Salt Lake. But I thought I was going to save a little bit of money. So I was going to fly into Denver, and from Denver catch a flight into Salt Lake, and of course that's how I have to get home. So the story about getting there is another time, another place. It's hilarious. I didn't make it into Salt Lake the day I was supposed to. Layover, missed my flight, taxi cab, one-star hotel, you can imagine. So I get there the next day. So we're going to be talking about me flying home to Tulsa from Salt Lake City. So I get to the airport in plenty of time. I've learned that the hard way, and that was that little whisper. I don't know if you guys ever, you need to make sure you're present in the present moment instead of worrying about the future or upset about the past, because if you're presently grounded, I always tell people, listen to that whisper. So I'm going to have lunch with my good friend Tanya, and there's this whisper, like thinking, I need to get to the airport. So literally I stopped. We were in line to get food, and I said, Tanya, I think you need to take me to the airport. And she's like, what? You're going to make it? And I'm like, no, because I really did need to get home to Tulsa. I had been gone 3 days, 3 kids, swim meet in Oklahoma City, you can imagine. So I literally said, no, I need to go to the airport. So she's like, well, where are you going to eat? I go, I'll just grab something at the airport. So we get out of line, and she takes me to the airport. As soon as I get out, there is just chaos. And now this is like a Wednesday, and I'm thinking normally the airport, because I figured out when to fly and when to not fly, right? So it was extremely crowded. So then I'm just smiling like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm here because I'm going to make my flight. So I get in the security line, and I'm going through the line, and I get up there, and again, with this technology, I downloaded the, not passport, the whatever it's called that you get on a plane, the boarding pass. So it was cool because everyone had their papers. And when I go up there, they're like, oh, so I guess I'm one of the first people that did that, or just the people surrounding me at the time. So I took my smartphone, put it on the thing, and it goes ding, and then I go through. So I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, I have plenty of time, use the restroom, get me a little snack, go to my boarding gate. So I do just that. And when I get to the gate, I'm in line, and I thought, how perfect timing. And we're getting on the plane, and I overheard a passenger say Chicago. And I literally stopped, and I tapped her on the shoulder, and I was like, did you say Chicago? And she goes, yeah, we're going to Chicago. And I'm like, that's odd because I flew it out of Denver. So as I'm getting on, the person that works there was like, oh, honey, this plane's going to Chicago. So there's the, silver lining. I could have ended up in Chicago. And I was like, well, I'm supposed to be getting back to Tulsa, flying in through Denver. And she said, oh, your plane has been delayed. I'm like, okay, wow. So I'm just ecstatic that I'm not on the plane, not paying attention, going to Chicago. So I sit down, call my friend, and I'm like, well, guess what? I could have actually had lunch with you after all. So I was kind of having a small pity party. Like, are you kidding? I could have had, been eating yummy food versus, this airport stuff. So about 30 minutes pass, and I start noticing like chaos and people kind of getting upset. And I looked up at the screen, and literally at the screen it said delayed. We were supposed to leave like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was delayed to like 7 o'clock. It was the weirdest thing. So I go up there, and everyone's like, why, blah, 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 I gotta get home. And I'm like, this is so weird. Well, again, technology. I looked down at my smartphone, and I had already signed up for airport messages being via text, because text, you can see it on your screen. And it said, flight to Tulsa has been moved, anyway, a separate gate. So I'm like, oh, wow. Well, what's crazy is even the people standing there and the people working at the airport didn't know this information yet. So I immediately turn around, and I'm walking to the separate gate, and then I hear them announcing gate change. So then it's like cattle. They're all following me, and I have my little carry-on, and I am scurrying, almost running as fast as I can to be the first at the gate. So I get there. Well, when I got there, there was another group of 80 people standing there irate as well. So needless to say, it was total chaos. And so they were all griping, and I looked at them and I said, what's going on? And they said, well, we were supposed to leave at 10 o'clock a.m. I'm like, what? So basically, the people that they just took us to that gate, there's already people there ticked saying, this is going to be our flight. So I'm immediately processing, going, oh, heavens, here we go. Okay, so they come over the system, and they say, my flight, remember, that was going to leave that afternoon, you have now been delayed till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, because the flight we were supposed to get on is for the people that were supposed to leave that morning. Okay, so as every single person is griping, bitching on the phone, even the airline people are crazy, this is where my point comes. Hustle. So I'm like, there's a plane right here that's getting ready to leave to go to Tulsa, where I need to be. And I'm looking at my phone with my, the number of the flight, and I'm like, okay, this is leaving at 9 o'clock at night, meaning I'll get home around midnight. So I quickly looked at the flight number, and again, while they're all chaos, fighting, yelling, screaming, I grab my carry-on, my purse, and I'm running to the actual, not baggage claim, but the people there that work at the office, okay? So I walk up, and they said, can we help you? And I said, I need to get back to Tulsa, and there's a plane leaving right now, and I need to get on that plane. And the gentleman was like, well, we can't do that. And I remained calm and nice, and I said, well, it's my understanding that there may be a seat available. Could you at least check? And he was like, sure, I'll check. So he literally gets online, and he's like, oh my gosh, there's one seat. And I said, well, I need that seat. Now he's looking at me, and he's like, well, I can't do that. And this is where certainty sells, is what I always tell everyone. And I'm like, oh, yes, you can. I already have my ticket. I just need to get back to my children. And he kind of was like, okay. So he gives me a paper boarding pass. So I am beyond like, woot, woot, woot. So I'm going back to the gate to get on the plane to get to Tulsa. And I noticed in the side it says STB, and I had no idea what it was. So I go up to the desk, and I said, ma'am, what is STB? And she said, it means standby. And I go, oh. And there was a woman standing there, and she tapped my shoulder, because remember, everybody's in a very bad mood. And she's like, excuse me, and proceeds to start griping me out. There is a line, and blah, 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 just beyond yelling. And at that moment, I made a conscious decision. I'm going to remain calm because I could go there. And I'm just going to be nice. My dad always said, kill them with kindness. And I literally said, oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't realize that you were in line. I don't see a line. I just see a herd of, irate people. And I just really need to get my seat. Well, the interesting thing happened. She then, I guess, was like, oh, and she kind of backed down and became very nice and said, oh, well, where are you going? And I noticed we bonded over my tattoo. I have a tattoo, and this woman had sleeves. So she, I think, was prejudging and then saw, oh, well, she must be cool. And so we started talking about my tattoos. So when I go up there, there was a woman that said, there is no way you're getting on this plane. There is a list of 15 people on standby. You would be number 16. So I cannot help you. Walk away. Now, I truly believe that 99.9% of the population, my husband being one of them, I love my husband, but I do believe the way that she was that direct, that stern, that she was just pretty much hateful, people would have bowed out, and I would have thought, well, I'm going to be stuck at this airport until 9 o'clock at night and get home after midnight, if the plane leaves. So I just kind of sat there, and this is where I decided to hustle. I hustled. And I looked at her and I smiled, and I said, and I questioned everything. I said, those 15 people, are they here right now, or are they at the other gate? Because there's another herd of 80 people there. And she continues to yell, I have no idea, but you are not getting on this plane. Again, remained calm, hustle. Well, ma'am, with all due respect, is there a seat available in first class? I have no idea. Well, it looks like maybe one. And I said, okay, well, I just will upgrade to first class. And she goes, well, you need to go back to the ticket counter. Remember where I first got my paper that said standby? I said, okay. So I'm turning around. And before I turned around, I looked at her and I said, I can go to the ticket counter now and I can upgrade. She goes, well, actually, no, we don't do ticketing here. You're going to have to call. You're going to have to call 1-800-UNITED, blah, 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 blah. And she's yelling and kind of spitting and making a spectacle, and everyone's watching. And again, I remained calm and hustled. And I go, well, I have to get home. I know there's one seat available. I don't even know if these 15 people are here. You're not calling names or anything. And I have to be home. It's not an option. I'm a mother of 3. I have a child in Oklahoma City. Well, all of a sudden, a different woman that works there is standing there, and she's watching all of this transpire. So she calmly walks over, and she gets in front of the computer. Irate woman is kind of pushed back. She starts touching her shoulder. You can't do that. You can't do that. She turns around and she's like, calm yourself down. Step away from the counter. And she sits there, and it's like, anyway, she's just sitting there typing. I'm smiling like, is this happening? Come on, God. Ooh, summoning the gods, the whole positive energy, karma. And all of a sudden she looks at me and she smiles and she goes, here you go. And she handed me my boarding pass. Woman behind, absolute mean, hater, very upset. Don't know if she lost her job or not. She probably should have. And I turned around and I smiled. So the one woman, tattoo sleeves, that was so hateful to me at the beginning, she looked at me and she smiled and she goes, absolutely amazing that you are getting on this plane. And I kind of smiled at her. And I board the plane, and some of the people that actually saw all of this happen, man, she was not going to let you on that plane. And same thing, I can't believe you got on this plane. And I'm sitting there smiling the whole time. I mean, I am just ecstatic because I'm thinking of all of those 80 people that are stuck at the airport, whether they got on and out of there back to Tulsa, I have no idea, but I got on the plane, there were 15 people on standby, and I think I was told no probably 10 times. And it wasn't just told no, it was yelled at no. And it was absolutely no. Just, I mean, 10 times. So there, you know, me getting on that plane and getting home to my children made me happy. Happy. I'm so happy. I would have been miserable, sad, beyond if I was stuck at the airport again and had to go spend the night at a one-star hotel. But because I chose to hustle, not give up, I was ahead of the pack each time. I'm like, okay, you all are here arguing, trying to figure stuff out, so I'm going to bolt. And I did. And I don't know where the 15 people were. I wasn't going to wait to find out. I was just certain and nice and continue to not give up, not give in, and to hustle. And that hustle got me a ticket on the plane. So the point of this number one in happiness for the H is to hustle. So think about all of those times that, you know, not even in an airport or where you are in your life, and someone tells you no. I always want you to process and to be creative, and this is not about, oh my gosh, breaking rules or breaking the law, so I don't want anyone to think, oh, she's just a rule breaker, whatever. There were no rules broken. There were no laws broken. I just chose to hustle at that point in time. There were, you know, a total of probably 120 people for 2 different flights, if that makes sense. And I was continuing to try to stay on top and to go and jockey where I needed to be. And I then, therefore, since I hustled, I made it home to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So there's my story. So think about it. Always hustle. I don't care what you're doing in life. Just don't give up. Continue to persevere. I always say the most successful people are the ones that hold on the longest. Truly believe that. And that's kind of my personal story about hustling. That was just one scenario. Every single day I choose to hustle. I'm a daydreamer, just like, you know, the quote I posted, dreams are for free, but the hustle is sold separately. So I hope you can take that nugget with you this morning and look for our next Google Hangout, which will be the A in happiness, which is all about being authentic. And I look forward to seeing you again. And I always say people with purpose and passion are always in fashion. And of course, those are our 2 P's for happy, is purpose and passion. And thanks for joining me. So remember this, to spread love wherever you go, especially while consuming your Joe. TTFN, ta-ta for now.